Good to go.
Okay, I'll call to order the Monday, September 29th, 2025 Town of Dudley Government Study Committee meeting. Agenda item 1 is Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we get to public business, brief announcement. We had 2 resignations from the committee since our last meeting. Robin Furcall had to resign, and unfortunately Cheryl had to resign as well. So in next week we'll be asking the selectmen to approve our alternate to become a full-time member, and that'll leave us with 6 members. So we think that with the momentum we've had and the group that we've had assembled, that we'll probably just proceed with 6. But we'll put that on the agenda for next time, just for a brief discussion. So think about that for next time. Agenda item number 2, future meeting dates is the first item we have to talk about. And right now, Olivia has proposed Monday, October 27th, Monday, November 10th, and then Monday, November 24th, which is the week of Thanksgiving, Monday, December 8th, and then Monday, December 22nd, which is the Monday of Christmas week. So the only thing I can think of is that the 24th and 22nd might give us some problems if people are going out and about and things like that. But are we good with those dates?
I just can't make the 10th one.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Chair, I'd say that we should just accept what has been offered to us, and we can work it meeting by meeting.
Okay, I agree with that. Do we have to motion that?
Yes.
I'll make the motion that the proposed future dates for the Government Study Committee be accepted as listed.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Just a brief note on that. Thanks for letting us know about the 10th. With only 6 members, if you have a reasonable doubt about coming, if you can just email Olivia as quickly as possible, because we run into quorum problems real quick with only 6 members. So we want to make sure that and that way no one wastes their time, coming to a meeting and doing all that stuff, especially as it gets colder and darker. I'm sure nobody wants to, be out and about. So just as soon as you can, if you can let Olivia know if you're not going to be able to attend. Okay. So last week we had two good presentations, one from Brian and then Robin's as well. And, those were both great. And today, so are there any questions about what we saw last week?
Could I have a couple of questions on that? I apologize, I was unable to make the meeting. I was out of town. But I did re-watch it on YouTube, and I thought each presentation was very informative. But I don't think there was any action taken on the presentations. Do we need to take action, or how do we want to proceed with these?
Well, no, I think right now we're presenting, and just to see it and think about it more than anything.
Okay.
And I think, and when we get to like what Robin had presented with kind of her analysis and maybe the format of even presenting it, I think as we see all of them, then we'll probably start to gauge the merit of each one, and then kind of stack up where each stands and how we might present each one to the public.
Okay.
Right? And at least that's my theory or thought, if everybody else agrees. Because we're getting into some survey, there's possibility of surveys with some of these, and I think we also discussed last time, doing like one survey versus maybe sending out 5 small ones, right? So we're gonna have to see all these things first in order to get the content of the survey before we can send it out, obviously.
That's fine,
So,
okay.
Yeah. Okay, and tonight we've got one member who's prepared to present their research, and that's Hannah.
I sent you my presentation via email because I couldn't upload things into the SharePoint. Okay.
Okay, great.
So I looked up technology in small towns. Make sure I'm getting picked up. You can go to the next slide. So I looked up how technology improves government efficiencies. It really increases utilizing fewer resources, speeding up processes, and reducing a lot of human errors. It's also faster, cheaper, smarter, and more transparent. You can see. So I looked up some of the different ways that I can search and the tools and technology that you can use. So for cost savings and efficiencies, like online portals, cloud services, and automation is really helpful because it reduces the need for extra staff, lowers the IT infrastructure costs, and saves staff time. For better citizen services, telehealth, e-learning programs, mobile apps, and chatbots, I don't feel like this one really applies too much to Dudley, but I put it on here just in case. The economic development, if you get like high-speed internet, digital marketing, and agricultural tools that can help with the town, it attracts remote workers and businesses. It can also help small businesses reach wider markets and supports local farmer with data-driven tools. Transparency and trust, so an open budget dashboard, digital recording, and online town halls. You guys already do that. It really helps show citizens how funds are being spent, reduces lost paperwork, and increases public participation and engagement. For infrastructure and safety, GIS mapping, smart water meters, digital emergency alerts. We use GIS mapping at my job. It's very helpful. I don't know if you guys have one for your water department, but it improves planning for roads, zoning, utilities, detects leaks and prevents water waste, and warns citizens instantly about any hazards. And then for collaboration and grants, the shared platforms, online grant management, regional data sharing. It could pool resources for efficiency, speed up grant applications, and enhance regional planning for healthcare and environmental monitoring. So here are two examples. In Indiana, they installed smart water meters. It detects leaks pretty quickly, reduces waste, saves residents money, and freed up staff time so they're not going and having to read your meters all the time. We also just got this in Webster. I haven't utilized it yet, but I'm interested to see how that works. They're also doing it across National Grid too, so that you can see exactly what kind of appliances are running too much in your house. So it's really nice. It saves the company money or the department money, but it also helps the residents too. And then in Oklahoma and Ohio, they actually got free city Wi-Fi across the entire town, which I thought was kind of crazy. It increased all property value, attracted a lot of businesses, gave affordable internet for all of the residents, and attracted new residents. I thought was pretty interesting. So the benefits of technology in small town communications. I'm not going to read this word for word, but it gives you faster emergency alerts. So we use Everbridge at National Grid. If I need a text message or there's something happening at work, it will text all of my phones and it will send me emails to all of my emails. So if you had like an issue where like there's a storm or a road closure, it's actually really nice. You can just text it out to everyone and everyone will know. Especially I kind of talked about when the lizard was running around my town. It would have been nice to get a text message saying that there's a dangerous lizard running around. It also gives better citizens better engagement. So I don't know how much your YouTube channel is watched by the town, but I think it's really nice that we get to see it. I can rewatch old clips. That's really nice. I've never seen that before. There's a lot of cost savings, so digital newsletters, email lists, and websites are much cheaper than having a paper mailer. It also reduces staff time answering and repeating questions since it's all posted online. It also gives transparency and trust, so you're sharing your budgets, meeting minutes. Seems like you guys are already doing this one specifically. And then it also will reach younger and more remote citizens who don't necessarily are around like as much, and younger people are all into social media and texting. And then having shared digital platforms can help like the local police, fire, EMS, and public works coordinate faster. Again, usually I think most companies and departments use Everbridge. I think it's kind of a pretty good collaboration tool. And then it also allows for community building. So having like Nextdoor or Facebook groups can allow neighborhoods, like neighbors to keep up with each other. I know mine, we always talk about like whose cat is who. So when we see them out and about, we can keep track of that. So it's pretty much good. It promotes also a stronger sense of belonging. So here are some more examples. So Colorado has mass emergency text alerts. So if there's a flood or wildfire or a road closure, it reaches them faster and than their older methods. And then Dudley has live streaming of town meetings. So I put you guys on here too, because I actually really like that. I think it's good. So I also looked into paper time cards versus digital time cards and the benefits and disadvantages of that. So looking into that, moving into a more digital space with doing your time cards will reduce all the mistakes from manual entry and handwriting issues. This doesn't really apply to you because I don't think you guys literally punch in, but it also prevents buddy punching. It will automatically calculate your hours, overtimes, and your breaks. Your managers will spend less time reviewing and correcting your time cards. The attendance and labor costs can be tracked instantly, easier to spot absenteeism, lateness, and scheduled gaps. It will automatically sync with your payroll system and reduce double entry. There's fewer disputes about payment errors. If you had a mobile app, it might actually help like clock them in when they actually arrive on site or wherever. It's also easier to comply with labor laws by tracking it virtually. And digital records are harder to lose and tamper with. There are some disadvantages. Software subscriptions, hardware, and training can be a little bit expensive up front. The employees also might resist the change, especially if they're used to simple clock cards, whatever you guys use. And then some staff might struggle with the devices and the apps. If there's power outages and software bugs, that can also become a problem for clocking in and doing your time. It also does need IT support or vendor assistance. I don't think you want to do a biometric system. I'm going to skip that step. And then sometimes employees do feel over-monitored. But for the cost, over time, you already said you had your the system, you just don't utilize it, so I don't think cost is really a problem at this point. And then if the system crashes and there's no backup, manually tracking it again could be a little chaotic. And then I kind of just looked into some common funding sources and grants that give money for technology. I'm not going to read a lot of them, but there's a bunch of different grants that you can go and get to get tech funding for the government, so I just put a list of those up here. I don't have to read it, but it's pretty interesting how many there are out there for specifically technology for towns. That's it.
Olivia, are there any restrictions on on who the town can ask for a grant? Like, does it have to be from some sort of a government funding source, or would any grantor be accepted? I'm not.
Mr. Chairman, it usually works the other way around, where a grant would exist and have certain parameters for who can apply.
Oh,
And some
okay.
grants exclude municipalities or public organizations.
Oh, all right.
That's usually what we run into.
Okay. I mean, we get a lot of funding where I work through grants, and I haven't thought about it the other way around. Okay. Well, from town meetings and whatnot, I know that town management certainly pursues grants as often as they can. So, not a good way to run, but it does fund projects. So, funding the project versus keeping it sustained is another problem, I think, that has to be overcome. Well, this is great. So as far as communication, so like I think it's two-pronged, right? It's internally within the town hall maybe, or within the town government system, but also how they communicate externally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, any questions, comments? Yes.
Hannah, did you have a chance to compare what Dudley currently offers versus the gold standard of your research? Because I know it offers quite a few things. I know it doesn't offer everything, but it does offer quite a few things, I think.
I mean, looking at your website, I kind of just poked around and looked for what I could. I think Dudley's pretty good with their website and then the YouTube channel, but again, if you have a lizard in your yard, you kind of want to know. Do we have like a mass update feature? I know you have to subscribe to something, but
We, through the chair, we do have the Rave Alert system, and I think that's managed by the fire department, actually, where residents can enter their phone or email address and either be texted or called with things. Mostly it's water main breaks that we get notified of.
Uh-huh.
But it's also used in case there is some sort of emergency that needs mass alert instantly.
interesting.
Mostly water main breaks.
One or two of those.
Yeah, all agencies have the ability to utilize the system. It's just more commonly used by a singular agency. They have the greatest need. Now that system also could be used just for something as simple as notifying of a annual town meeting that's upcoming. It doesn't have to be utilized just for an emergent purpose. So maybe we could, branch out on what we do with it. I don't know if that's commonly used out there with other communities with their emergency alert. We look at this as an emergency alert system, and it is, but it could be utilized, in far greater scope.
Maybe.
It also might anger people. Stop texting me, stop letting me, all I want is emergent, notifications. And you can set different levels of who gets what notification too, so.
It's when you have your home phone, your cell phone, and the text, but they
yeah,
all bing at once.
The email, everything, so, I understand, I get it.
The whole house shakes when everything
No,
goes off at once.
I understand, I get it.
We also use that same software for an internal only distribution list. So if, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, you look outside, there's 2 feet of snow, and someone has to send out the notification that town hall is closed for the day. We can easily do that in the system with our internal list.
Oh, that's nice. Good, you got it.
And I think, the concept, social media is always gonna pop up. I mean, it's difficult from the town standpoint to communicate that way, I would imagine. Any citizen can do it 24/7.
Social media presents its own challenges. I really think the best person to talk to, if whoever is more so researching that item, would talk to Debbie LaPlaca. She's
Okay.
our public information officer, and she manages our social media pages. So she would probably be the best person to talk to considering those challenges. I do think social media is useful, but it doesn't always reach everybody. We do have
True.
residents in town who refuse to use social media for whatever reason, or aren't interested in social media, and sometimes they'll come in and say, hey, I didn't hear about this event. Well, It's on Facebook, but we have to be mindful of posting it in other locations as well,
Correct, correct.
which we do try to do. We have the board outside, we have the internal screens. Debbie LaPlaca puts out a monthly newsletter called the Dudley Digest, which has some important happenings in it. It's just, I think no matter what you do, you'll never reach every single person.
Right.
True.
Even with the rave alerts, not everybody is subscribed to those.
No.
So we have a lot of subscribers, but not everybody.
And I think social media, is a interesting invention, over the past 20 years. But from the government perspective, it's a lot of one-way communication, not that bi-directional communication. Good, bad, or indifferent, I think that's what it is. Could it be something different next week, next month, next year, perhaps? But, right now, I think it's that one-way communication out, not necessarily questions and answers and those sorts of things for various reasons.
And I think on Facebook, the town does post quite a few Facebook posts, but they're not happening every hour or every day.
Right.
Maybe when a meeting is coming up, or when you post I think, does Debbie LaPlaca do this? She posts the agendas, let's say, for meetings, right?
Right, it's not an official posting platform, but she
No.
does try to put out as
Information
many as she
only.
can as a courtesy for residents.
Would you like to see if we can get her in here for a meeting?
She might be the best person to send out our survey.
Also, she is a wealth of knowledge of the 2003 Charter Committee, because she worked with them a lot, and she emailed me directly and said she'd be happy to come in and speak to the committee about her 2003 charter experiences. So kill two birds with one stone with that one.
Well, how could we say no?
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe for next time?
I'll see if she's available.
Let's see if she's available for the 27th. I think that'd be fabulous. And then we can, if you can confirm that before you set up the next agenda, and definitely we could discuss, and you'll be here, the 27th, right? Great, so we can discuss maybe some of the communication issues and explore some more with her from a technical standpoint, but we can also get into some of that charter questions.
Yeah, some of the history,
Some of the
why
history.
decisions were made, why people were leaning one way or another, because I think almost every member, not all of them, almost every member on the Charter Committee from 2003 has died. So it might be hard to do interviews with those members.
Was there a word "might" in there?
Oh,
Jeez.
that was only 22 years ago. 2003?
I think a lot of the members at the time were retirees.
The retirees, yeah. Wow, okay, all right. Well, if Debbie's still around for the 27th, hopefully she can come in and enlighten us maybe a little bit. I think that'd be fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay. So this is really looking at like items 9 and 10, communication and transparency, but also use of technology, I think, right? Good. This is fabulous. And that's an interesting question. Can Debbie help us get the surveys out? What platform maybe, or how best to handle that?
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting angle, so that'd be good.
And then we can probably put into the town, like, what would you want more communicated, and like what modes are reaching you? Like, how did you find this survey? Could be a question. How did you learn about this?
Absolutely, yeah.
So it'd be interesting. And then for the internal folks, what they want in the technology standpoint is a good question to ask them. And if they have any anxieties about anything, so that we can document that and try to help maybe navigate that kind of anxiety, or offer assistance on that so that we can beef up the technology in the government too.
I know a lot of budget discussions happen in open meetings and whatnot. From town departments, like, I know that there's limited funds, obviously, and there are restrictions or they have to be careful with what they spend. So is there a process where they say, geez, it'd be really great if we had these two, this tool or that tool, but maybe it's too expensive? What's the process if, like, for example, maybe the assessor has the online mapping tool, which I think was cut a couple years ago when the budget woes over the summer happened, but then it came back. Originally, they must have proposed, let's go to this online system. It's gonna cost X, and that has to be debated. Is that a common process where someone might say, I'd really like to have this tool or these tools, but it costs this and I can't fit it in my budget? How does that process work? Is there one?
Let's see how to best phrase this. So we have a pretty laid out process when it comes to the annual budget. The town administrator distributes the budget memo, which has a timeline. I'm trying to think, we'll use the accounting office as a good example for this. So the accounting office would have to put together their departmental budget request, and they would submit it to the town administrator and then sit down with the town administrator and review that request. So if our town accountant said, hey, there's this really cool accounting software that I want, she can certainly submit that request and talk about it with the town administrator. He then would make the town administrator recommended budget, which would be presented to the selectmen and the FAA.
Mm-hmm.
With the annual budget process, sometimes there is some back and forth, especially because you have to stay within the Prop 2.5.
Right.
So that's the thing, is like new technology is often expensive, and sometimes these departments barely have enough money to increase their office supply budget.
Mm-hmm.
So to adopt new technology is sometimes difficult. When it comes to the supplemental budget, which is what we're preparing for town meeting in October, actually what we just met on last week, that's when we have our free cash number, and so we have a little bit of extra money that we can go ahead and place in the FY26 budget. So if the town accountant software didn't necessarily get included in the annual budget because we just didn't have room for it, maybe we have, I don't know, $5,000 in free cash that we could put towards the one-time implementation fee of that software, and we would just see if we could afford the annual cost and absorb that into the annual budget going forward. So there are ways to do it, and I know we've digitized quite a bit. We've really gotten into OpenGov over the last few years, and that's our online licensing and permitting software.
Mm-hmm.
Board of Health and Building use that extensively. I want to say almost exclusively for their permits. Fire department's really gotten into it in the last year or so. And I'm actually in the process of transitioning my office, which is our liquor licenses, auto dealerships, common vic, entertainment, all of that from paper into OpenGov for the renewal season that starts in November. So we do pay a good amount to OpenGov, but it's utilized by several different departments here. I think conservation also uses it, highway uses it. So that's like one set fee. It's not paid by one specific department. It's sort of paid by like the municipal side, I think,
Mm-hmm.
of the budget. I think that answers your question. So there is a pathway forward. It's depending on the money, and sometimes if you get a good free cash number, that's how you do that larger implementation fee. And of course, that all also gets discussed by the Board of Selectmen and FAA.
Right.
And if the FAA looked at it and said, absolutely not, you do not need this software, that could cause some discussion, so.
Sure. Okay, all right. It's just not as simple as, this would be great.
Yeah, no.
I guess that's my point. Everybody thinks it's great, but it's great at a cost, right? So we've got to keep that in mind. But if we do some research here and get some good ideas, that may get it on the table at least. So that if there are some good tools to use, maybe they can be planned for down the road. Everything we do might not be implemented immediately, or not be as impactful as, change the form of government or this position or that position. Some of these might be longer reaching perhaps, so that's interesting. Good, thank you for that. All right. Okay, Hannah was the only one presenting. If anybody has any more comments or questions.
I was told as I came in tonight that there's an update on the information I was looking for. So hopefully at the next meeting, or before that, I can let everybody know that I'm ready to present, or that I'll be ready to present at, the following meeting. But
Perfect.
hopefully the ball is going downhill at this point in time and starting to roll.
All right, fabulous. Okay, so at least maybe Rich. What about you, Paul? Do you think the
I'll be
next time?
ready, yes.
All right, good, okay. Yeah, if we can do two, I think that'd be pretty good. Well,
Right,
it'll depend. If we can get Debbie to come in,
right.
maybe we'll do Debbie and one.
I was gonna say, I think Debbie would take precedent.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, she's given us our time.
Yep.
We are here for the duration, so.
Yeah, probably if we talk to her, probably one presentation will be enough for that night, so let's plan on that for the next meeting. Okay. If there's nothing, I mean, it seems kind of fast, but if there's nothing else, anything else?
Is there any other staff member, department head, et cetera, that anyone is interested in scheduling a meeting with? Now that we're getting the ball rolling with Debbie, is there anyone else, anyone's research has wanted them to meet with and speak to?
Has anyone gone through the Highway, Water, Sewer, and Organizational Assessment Report? Drafted in 2018. If anyone has gone through that, I would actually ask if you have not to go through it. It was a very good study, some excellent information within that report. I think it would be sensible to have those groups in front of us just to ask, you know, what their thinking is, even if they've read this report or have seen this report. Because I think it has value.
Would that be so Water and Sewer would probably be the chair of the Water and Sewer Department?
Let me think about that one. Read through because that's the proposed DPW, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me read through that again. We could always try to plan on that for not October 27th, but maybe November 10th.
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't expect
Yeah,
any
no.
time soon, but I think we
Yeah.
should, at some point at least, you know, talk about this report.
Mhm. And then for highway, the highway superintendent?
Superintendent, because otherwise it would be Board of Selectmen Commissioners, correct?
The Board of Selectmen or the Highway Commissioners, yeah.
Yes. So who would have more value to be at the meeting?
For that, probably the Highway Superintendent.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe the next meeting after the 27th, the 10th.
Do we wanna call the citizens that brought the petitions?
Can we ask that?
I think yes. We'd have to, I mean.
I'm asking the committee, do you think there's some value in hearing their thoughts?
What are you referencing?
The citizens petitions that got this whole thing kinda
Oh.
rolling.
Yes.
So, you know, I don't know how to go about that, but that's, you know, I mean, go
Me-
knock on doors, I don't know.
Just a thought, but it may be a good thing to have done some coalescing around what we're looking to perhaps
Right.
accomplish as a government study committee.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit further down.
Yeah, because absolutely, there's value in understanding, you know, the who,
Their
what,
side
where,
of
when,
it.
why.
Yeah.
Of the thought process. But I don't know that getting that information right now is going to accomplish anything. I think once we're prepared to send surveys out and get data in, then we're in that mode of data analysis and data gathering. And I think that's the absolute perfect time.
Okay, makes sense
I'd
to
agree
me.
with that. Yes, sir.
Quick question. You're bringing the chairman of the water sewer board in, but the highway superintendent. Why wouldn't you bring the water sewer superintendent and the highway superintendent, or the chairman of the board of selectmen and the chairman of the water sewer commissioners? You have one of one and one of the other. And I'm just asking because it didn't connect.
I think we're still working on who to invite, actually. I think we were openly debating it, and I don't think we decided on who we were going to invite, other than we need someone with expertise in both areas.
If you wanted my 2 cents, I think you're on the right track of having superintendents one night and maybe the respective chairs on another night, as opposed to,
There's also an org chart in the middle of this.
There is.
There is. Yeah. Thank you.
No, I agree with Ms. Carmignotti that, no, it shouldn't be limited to just, who we spoke on at this particular moment, but, I mean, you really want someone that has, that institutional knowledge of day-to-day operations, so the superintendent would have, the best thinking on questions presented, so. Board, if one representative from the board, could come in for water and sewer, and a superintendent, I would think is sufficient.
I agree. My final comment on it is simply if there's an appropriate hierarchy for who we should speak to, definitely recommend it.
I mean, my thinking on this is that, the report was commissioned in 2018. I don't think either commissioner was in place at that particular time, so they may not be familiar with this report, or, may not be on their front burner, maybe on the back burner, so.
Sure.
Let's see where they are with this, if they understand what is in this, if they have disagreements or agreements, let's hear it and then, put some thought into that.
Yeah, so if you invite them and they come, might wanna let them know that this is what you will be.
I agree.
They should be aware of this, right?
Yeah, make sure that they have a copy.
Yeah, they're not blindsided in this meeting.
Okay, great.
And you said you do cemetery, right?
I do.
Okay. Because that's in here, so I was like, then maybe you also.
All right, anybody else, anything? Oh, okay, motion to adjourn? So moved.
A second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Perfect, thank you very much.